Good evening. My name is Rick Carlson. I'm the superintendent of Chickasha Public Schools. And thank you so much for joining us tonight. So we have an audience here with us live, and then we also have an audience that's joining us via social media on YouTube tonight. So the whole purpose of tonight is to get your feedback about Chickasha Public Schools and the future of what we're going to be doing. So we have partnered with OSSBA, the Oklahoma State School Board Association, and the K-20 Center from the University of Oklahoma to go through a strategic planning process. And over the course of this next school year, we'll be working with them and just putting together a mission, goals, values, objectives, all of those things that we want to have that's going to direct our path for the next 5 to 10 years. So the whole purpose of tonight is to hear back from you, to get your feedback on what you would like to see us continue doing, what you would like to see us start doing, what are some of your ideas, your values of education, and what would you like to see of a graduate of Chickasha High School in the year 2031? So we just have some questions we want to ask you tonight. And so it's my privilege tonight to turn this over to Tracy Vallon and Sharon Dean from the University of Oklahoma K-20 Center. And so I'm going to let these ladies lead us in the process.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us streaming or live audience here. I'm going to talk to you just a little bit more about what Mr. Carlson began talking about the process. This is a process to develop a 5-year strategic plan for Chickasha Public School District, and it's beginning right now. It is a 4-phase model, and the first phase is called Engage, and that's what we're engaging in right now. And the purpose of this phase is to ask the question, who are we as a school district? So who is Chickasha Public Schools? We're doing that by having several different focus groups like we're having tonight. We've been here all day today with different groups. We were here on September 8th and spent the day talking with other groups. And then in addition to these forums, we also have a community survey. So if you'll look at Chickasha Public Schools Facebook page as well as their website, you can get access to the public survey. Both the survey and the forums are important to give input. So at the end of this time, our job is to look at all of that data generated by you all and to analyze it. And at the end of phase 1, we will have for Chickasha Public Schools, what do you expect of your learners? What are your community's core beliefs? And what are your community's core values? That will be the foundation for this 5-year strategic plan. The plan is based upon community and stakeholder input and data. It's not Mr. Carlson's plan. It's not your school board member's plan. This is the community plan. We will come back in a few weeks, and Mr. Carlson is pulling together a committee to represent all stakeholder groups. There will be parents on that committee. There will be administrators. There will be students, and there will be teachers and community members. That group will look at the data and they will answer the question, where are we now? So it's pretty intense 2 days of data analysis. And at the end of that 2-day function, we will have some really big goal areas for Chickasha Public Schools based upon community input and based upon data. And then what are some objectives? What do we want to accomplish in those goal areas? We'll come back in about another 4 to 6 weeks. We'll work with that same group of stakeholders, and they will answer the question, where do we want to go, and how will we know when we get there? So in these goal areas, they will come up with some specific initiatives. They will have it down to the minute action steps. There will be a timeline. There will be performance measures to hold yourself accountable. So how are we going to know that we got to where we needed to go? And basically at the end of that 3rd phase, the strategic plan will be complete. It'll be put in a nice pre-package. It will then go to the Board of Education for their approval. Once they have approved it, we'll go into the 4th phase, and that 4th phase is achieve. As we did our research, only about 30% of strategic plans are ever implemented, and we didn't want ours to be that. We wanted to be much higher. And so we implemented the 4th phase, which is actually to work with the district goal area teams and to work with each of your site levels to come up with a year one implementation plan. We come back at year one, we reflect on that, and we start to go to year two. So does any of the audience out here have questions on the plan, that process? Okay, I'm going to make you all work now. Are you ready? You either have paper and pencil or you have your phones. And we're going to ask you some questions. And to give you the overall, let me get to thinking about these questions. Here are the questions. What are your expectations for the graduates of Chickasha Public Schools in the year 2031 and beyond? In order for them to be successful, what skills do they need for their future? And if they need these skills, what does learning and teaching in your school need to look like for the development of those skills? And then if we have teaching and learning look this way in the classroom, what resources and supports will your teachers need? And then we have two other questions that we'll go to. So if you guys will get ready, if you'll get your phones out and go to menti.com or get your paper and pencils out if you're working that direction. When you get to menti.com, it's going to ask you for a code, and the code is 15136597. And that will open up the Mentimeter and will get us started. Let's just wait another 10 seconds. Menti.com 15136597. Is my audience here? Are you all in with me? Everybody, thumbs up. You have your phones? Okay, awesome. Okay, let's go and let's get started. Okay, the first question is Tracy's getting her screen.
Give me just a second.
Give us just a second. I'll talk to you a little bit about what she's getting at. The first question is, think about 10 years in the future. So when students are walking across the stage in 2031, what are your expectations for them? Do you want them to be good citizens? You want them to be college or career ready. So what are your expectations?
Give me just a second. I'm gonna.
We're working.
I don't know for some reason they won't let me go to prison.
Having a little technical difficulties, so bear with us. Worst case scenario, I do think we can go forward.
Yeah, we can keep.
Just get the screen in.
I just need the screen to get school. Take this out for just a second.
Once we get the screen up and going, you all will be able to see each other's responses. And if you see a response that you think, oh, I was going to say that, please feel free to go ahead and say it again, because we're really looking at the frequency of the responses.
Should be going.
Oh, there we go. All right. Thank you, Tracy. I want students to know the importance of community and helping out, graduating prepared for life with good core educational skills, ready for career or higher education. They'll be prepared to hold a well-paying career, even if they don't go to college. So that college and or career ready. So what are your expectations when they walk across that stage in 2031 and beyond? Have good manners and want to have a scholarship, go to college. responsibility, prepared to whatever life throws at them. So maybe a little bit of flexibility. Find success in their next endeavors. Be confident. Be able to interact. Responsible, respectful. Okay, let's finish your thought. And as you're finishing your thought, it'll go ahead and it will record it. And we're going to go to the next question.
Maybe.
Maybe.
It's really not one. Just. He doesn't like live.
Minty doesn't like live streaming. Are you guys able to go to the next question? Okay. Okay. We may not be able to get to the next question in the same timely manner that you all are, but let's go ahead and you can advance to the next question if you're on your phone or if you're writing on paper. And when you think about what you just answered with the expectations for 2031,
Okay, there we go. Got it.
we want to share something with you. Basically, when employers are looking to hire people, these are the top 10 skills they're looking for. And they're looking for people to be able to work in a team. They're looking for people who can solve problems. They're able to make decisions. They can plan, they can organize, they can communicate with one another. They can search for information and they can process that information. They can analyze that information. And then obviously job-related skills to whatever the job that they're engaging in. They need to be able to understand technology. They need to be able to create written reports, be able to edit. And again, that's part of that communication, only it's written. And then they need to be able to influence others. So when you think about that and you think about what you expect of your graduates, think about what do those graduates, what are the skills they need to be successful? What are the skills they need to be college and career ready? So if you will add answers to this question, what skills do they need? Kind of slow.
Yeah, I just wonder if anybody, has anyone submitted one yet? To make sure that with all my technical difficulties, I'm in the right place.
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
They need to be critical thinkers.
Think outside the box.
Yes.
Think out loud and talk. You write that down, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Thank you for sharing that since it's not coming up here. Feel free to continue to do that, okay? They need to be open-minded. They need to understand math.
Did you remind them about repeating things? Frequency.
Yes, yes. And again, if you see something you like and you think that's important, please add it again. We're looking at what's most important. They need to
Processing.
processing. They need to be able to process.
Or A to Z, it could be that sentence.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Processing. Being responsible, having some confidence, adapting to change. Time management skills. We talked about that earlier.
Not
We-
afraid to ask for help every time.
What?
Not be afraid to ask for help. and reach out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Not afraid to ask for help. It's okay if you don't know everything.
Nothing to worry about.
I'm not with that. I'm with that. Processing came up there again. They need to learn to be leaders. Basic computer understanding and thinking about technology in the future. Critical thinkers. Coming up with ideas of their own, not just followers. Being reliable. Awesome answers, you guys. Okay, so here's what we expect of our graduates. Here are the skills they need, critical thinkers, et cetera, et cetera. Now, in order for them to have those skills developed, what does teaching and learning need to look like in those classrooms? So in order for them to be good communicators, in order for them to be confident, in order for them to be able to problem solve, in order for them to be able to process information, what do those classrooms need to look like for them to achieve those skills? Allowing students to express themselves. Absolutely. We ought to get a good answer from the student in our audience. So I'm talking about you. What do our classrooms need to look like? We had some great answers from our 8th graders and 10th graders and 12th graders today. They're living it. When you say,
Yes, absolutely.
Learning environment.
a learning environment. Can you describe that a little bit more?
The traditional way that we have learned is not how kids process it. So that environment, and it depends on the class, subject, and students of the grade. You have to they learn. I think they learn differently. So I'm not a teacher. I'm not in the school. Just watching how kids process, and I can explain everything.
So maybe just being, the classroom needs to be, and the teachers maybe need to be more open-minded to the different needs of the children. And right. So that adaptable classroom.
Yes.
And I like how you said it's not the same in every classroom. Not only are every child's not alike, but the subject matters are different too.
Yes.
Awesome.
Students need to feel safe. Students need to be able to make mistakes and know that that's okay, and that they're not going to be criticized and called out for it. They've got to have a safe learning environment.
So it needs to be a safe learning environment, some opportunities for students to take risks and to be wrong and to learn from their mistakes. An engaging environment. And engaging is not necessarily I'm reading and I'm answering questions. I'm reading and I'm answering questions. So more of that creative. You've got up your creative teaching, flexibility, an environment that has trust. A trust for them to make those mistakes. It's okay. You're learning. I think most of us probably could say that probably one of our best learning experiences was probably when we made a mistake and learned from that mistake. Yeah. Allowing students to be vocal, allowing them to be communicative, individual ways that students learn, allow that to be an opportunity for them to process in different ways. Compassionate teachers that will listen to student concerns.
Also, too, I think, different ways of assessing student knowledge other than paper, pen, and tests.
So how you show you know what you know. You are putting all this down,
Because
right?
not everybody is a test taker. So
Right.
when we're looking at ACT scores, when we're looking at the scores at the end of the year for the different schools, that's not reflective of what these students know. These students know because not everybody's a test taker. They sit down and think.
And I think what in the educational field, what we call that is an authentic assessment. It's a real. It's not just a multiple choice test. And you are putting these great ideas in your phone, right? Or you're writing it. Okay, awesome. Okay, I don't want to not be able to capture those. You all have some great answers here. So let's finish those up and let's go on to the next question. So you had some phenomenal answers to what the classroom needs to look like. How does teaching and learning need to look? And it's not the old traditional way is what I'm hearing from you guys. So in order to change what teaching and learning is going to look like for those students to gain those skills that are really important for their success, we have this question. What resources and or supports are necessary What resources and supports are necessary? And some of the things we got earlier today, because a lot of it was about the teachers doing this, teachers doing that, was professional learning for teachers. Teachers are learners too. The students are not the only learners in the school district. Technology was one we heard a lot today, earlier. I'm sorry, what?
Acquiring all these skills that we want them to do, we also have to take care of.
Yes, yes.
I think they need.
Yeah.
Parents and from.
Put that on there. I think that's great. The comment, if you were out in the audience, was, teachers need support. Teachers need support from the parents too. It's not just for that classroom to be successful. I'm going to paraphrase and then you can say, no, that wasn't right, Sharon. That's right. For those classrooms to be successful, learning is just not for students, also for teachers. And so we need to support not just the students, but we need to support the teachers too, for that positive learning environment. Current materials, books, reference materials, supportive administration, a supportive community, and this is what you were saying, and parent involvement. We all play a role in that success.
Then number 3 of that supportive administration. I come back and building curriculums to where they are geared to students that have success.
Yes.
Same old thing I'm working on time. We have game plan, do game plan before you go in there. It's football plan. So you can't continue to run the same play all the time and it don't work. You got to go with something.
And if you guys weren't able to hear, that was a great comment about having a plan, your curriculum. What's your plan? We don't just walk in there, oh, what are we going to do today? So having that curriculum plan. Yes.
Teachers need to know that when they do have that curriculum plan, it's not going to be the same for each class, and that they're supported when they go in, that knowing they know their students better than anyone else.
That's right.
So that's that individualized instruction.
Exactly.
That's what we were talking about earlier. So being able to provide a support system for our teachers to provide individualized instruction. That might mean some paraprofessionals. That might, yeah. And it might be professional development again. It could be a lot of things, a lot of different types of support. Parent involvement, safe and clean and well-maintained learning environment, absolutely. Learning for our teachers, up-to-date facilities, we heard that earlier today. Keep up with the times. Administration is open to new ideas. Absolutely. So as you guys finish this up for our resources and supports necessary, we're going to have you think about how many of you guys that are here are Chickasha graduates. A couple of you. Okay, awesome. The rest of you are vested in the community, I'm sure. So think about Chickasha Public Schools and think about what is this district really doing well that we don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. This is what's happening. This is what we're doing. And this is really making a positive impact on our students. So what are some things that as we go into looking at planning for the next 5 years, got to keep this. This is important. Not just because it's a tradition, but because it's important for our students, for them to be successful. So what are some things we need to keep doing?
Bless the community, we need to stay on one accord and doing all that we can to support our faculty and our students going forward. Don't let nothing separate us, or little things separate us, but make sure that the main folks in our teachers, our students, we're going to support whatever they need.
So they're ours.
They are.
They're ours. And ours is that big community.
They don't share.
Yes. So do you feel like you have a pretty good supportive community? Okay, yeah. Offering the AP classes for students that need that challenge. We've seen this in another district we worked with. They felt like that there were some students that really needed that extra challenge, that extra rigor, and they needed those AP courses. Student and staff counseling, we heard that earlier today too, that this is a great program, counseling program, not only for your students, but for your teachers as well. Keeping that connection with our community. The extracurricular activities that include options outside of sports, STEM programs and GT. And one of the things that you guys are still thinking about this, and as we get deeper into your strategic planning process, is this process is not to come in and go, wipe everything out. We're starting from square one with Chickasha Public Schools. We're very well aware that there are a lot of good things going on, and this is what we want to really get your input. What are those things? Because the intention is not to start from scratch. It is to build upon those great things that are already happening, and maybe to make them even a little greater. Parent-teacher conferences, something we're doing well, even at the high school. That's awesome that you guys can say that at that secondary level.
Sorry.
Okay, that's okay. Okay. As you finish this up, I'm going to set your stage for your next question. Your next question is to think outside the box. Think big. Think about things you've heard about from friends in other school districts, things you've seen on television, things you've read about. Go, oh my gosh, that would be so awesome if we could do that in Chickasha. This would be great for our kids. And while he's not listening to me, money's no object. All right? Answer it as if money's no object. Dream big. What are some things that you think we should start doing that would be really, really great for our kids and that would help them on that path to success? Outside what?
Learning outside the classroom.
Outside the classroom. Okay. More of that hands-on community type learning. Okay. Are you thinking in terms of maybe even some job shadowing, some internship programs? Okay. Write that down. Utilizing communication tools. What are some really neat things we need to think about doing? More effective communication. Not everyone spends time on social media. More career fairs. Strengthen the core reading for all students. Include technology programs to help disadvantaged readers. Real world integration. Actually preparing students for the real world, like how to budget, finances, and taxes.
Sharon, on that one, more effective communication, does somebody have some ideas or strategies there? Because we always do wonder what's the most effective means for communicating with families. So I don't know if somebody has to expand upon some other ways.
That'd be great,
to
yeah.
do better. I would love to hear.
what do we need to, if we're not doing it, what do we need to do to be more communicative? And maybe it's, and Pam, I thank you for bringing that up, because I was thinking as I read that, you almost have to, not everyone prefers the same type of communication. So how many ways can we say the same thing and in what manner? And that's not always the easiest thing to do.
We have a child in our school district, and we get calls every week letting us know like what the upcoming events are, what upcoming challenges are, what if the school's going to be closed. And just like we got a call today about the meeting that was going to happen. And to us, they may get annoying sometimes, but at the same time, you can't miss that call when it's left over. So that to us is a good communication.
Okay, so like the robocall.
Robocalls, yeah.
Yeah, the robocalls, yeah.
Also, some of the more like personalized communication. The teachers and the parents themselves, like really let them know what's going on, not just at parent teacher conferences, but like, you know, at all levels, not just.
Not just the elementary. I did a program at my middle school. It was the 21-day challenge. At the very beginning of school, I challenged each of my teachers. They had 21 days to make phone calls home, get to know your parents, and then continue that. So, yeah. And again, it is hard. We'll see communication, Pam, in every plan that we start working with, because there's so many ways, and people have different preferences. You think, how many ways can I say this? But
Well, and if you build that relationship, then it all goes from there. I mean, yourself, kind of fall into place.
relationships, how important is that? Yeah, building relationships. And so, did you kind of add that as one of what we should start doing more of, building relationships?
That goes along with sports as well. We have children in sports, and a lot of times you're like, what's going on? Where are we going? What are we doing? And not just in the classroom.
And I think my experience from my grown adults, children, if you ask them what's going on, nothing. Nothing. I go and spend all day at school that nothing went on. So, yeah. You guys have had some great answers, and I've loved the interaction, you guys sharing out loud with us. And you guys, the back of the room, did you have any other questions that you want to clarify? Thank you, Pam, for asking that.
Appreciate everybody being here. You're listening together, but thanks for taking time. Getting it together. Get better.
I commend your administration and your school board. Not everyone wants to step out there on that ledge and open this up and get all this information. But I promise you at the end, and if you haven't taken the survey, please go take the community survey and encourage others to do so. The more information we have, the more valid our information is. And when the community survey closes, Tracy and I will analyze that data, and we will have a list of core values, a list of core beliefs, and your learner expectations for Chickasha Public School District. They will be prioritized, and you will know what your community thinks is important. So, any questions? It's been a pleasure visiting with you guys, and you all contributed tonight. And I'm going to turn it back to Mr. Crossland.
Thank you. So as of this morning, we had 306 survey responses, and which is exciting. So I'm kind of excited on several different levels. One, that was more responses that we received when we were doing the superintendent search about 2 years ago. And since I've been here, this is the second community forum we've had. And the last one, we had one person show up. So I'm just tickled pink that there's people out here in the audience tonight. This is fantastic. But I also want to keep getting your feedback. So the survey is, all you have to do is just go straight to the district website. It says community feedback survey. Please take it. We're going to be sending out another one of those robocalls. I don't know what else to call them, but just reminding people of it again. It closes on September the 30th, which is Thursday of next week. It's been open. That will be just a little bit shy of 2 months by the time we close it. But we just want to have your feedback. We want to have more information from you. Mom, dad, everybody needs to take it. We're encouraging everyone to give us their feedback. Even if you don't have a kiddo in the school district right now, please take the survey and let us know what you think. We are proud to be the school for Chickasha. We're proud to be a community school, and we want to be a reflection of our community. So I've been standing up here listening to everything on communication. We're working on it, and we can get better. I'm just going to openly acknowledge it. We can get better. When you talk about curriculum, absolutely, sir. Absolutely, we need to work on curriculum. And we've started that process. It's a process that we're going to continue working on, because that, to me, is the meat and potatoes of why we're here. You talk about supporting teachers. We want to support our teachers. We want to recruit and we want to retain the absolute best teachers for this district. That's our goal, because every kid deserves a great education every day. Doesn't matter if you're in pre-K all the way up to 12th grade. We need to work on our electives. I saw one of our responses up there was home ec. Just keep watching. That's all I can say. We've got some great things in the works.
I can teach that, Rick.
Fantastic.
I
I'll
used to be
have
one of
to find
those.
a fax teacher. But anyway, we have things in the works. We'll be sharing more with you as we keep going on. We just right now, the most important thing is your feedback. And I cannot stress that to you enough. Now, I'm going to switch gears just for a moment. On October 1, we're going to start another survey, but it's completely unrelated to any of this. And this one is maybe just a little bit more light and material, but it's, for a lot of people, it's just as serious. So we're going to be putting out there for you 3 different refreshed versions of the Fighting Chick mascot. And so what we want you to do is on October 1st, we'll have the survey link out there. It'll be on the website. We'll do all those things. We are still Fighting Chicks. We are not changing that. We are purple and gold. That's what we bleed, we eat, we breathe, everything. But we're going to refresh the mascot a little bit, because if you've seen our mascot lately, it needs a little TLC. We are Fighting Chicks. So you're going to have the chance all the way through the middle of November to vote for which one of the 3 refreshed mascots you would like to see around town. And so we've had a committee from the community working on this now since the middle of July. And so they are narrowing it down to 3 renderings. They already have 2. We're waiting on the last one. And then we're just going to give it out to the community for you guys to decide which one is going to be our Fighting Chick mascot moving forward. And I'll tell you, the 2 I've seen so far, pretty awesome. So we're going to have students vote on this. We'll be going around to all the different schools and having kids vote on it. This will be at football games. It'll be everywhere. But at the December board meeting, we will be announcing and introducing the mascot that everyone voted for. We're going to have a little bit of fun, but it's not like this, but it's serious in another way, if you can kind of get that gist. So anyway, we're going to have a little bit of fun, but it's exciting to be in Chickasha. It's exciting to work with your schools, your teachers, your students every day. Thank you for the opportunity to be your superintendent. I hope you have a wonderful evening.
I challenge each of you to go get 5 people to fill out that community survey.
Yes.
A minimum of 5.
And we'll take your paper copies. Oh, well, no.
What I didn't tell you is with all the forms we've done and all the surveys, we're getting
Michelle's got
close between 800 and 900 different people.
And that means Tracy and I are going to be working really hard.